In our training today, oops, here we go. We're just going to be reviewing in this content training how to add information to the front page of your website, how to add like pages of content or articles, how to update your hero image, this text that you see over your hero image here. Any of these pages or any of these areas of paragraphs that you see, we're going to learn how to update these, update any of these widgets on the right-hand side, as well as how to update your footer info at the very bottom as well. Sound good?
Sounds good.
When are we going to see our website?
This is your website.
No, not yet. No, because we had sent those 50 pages.
So you're talking about the content of your website?
Yeah.
That's probably something that we're still building. I can get my designer to give me a kind of a timeline as to when that'll be completed.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. The goal that I have in mind from today, guys, is for you guys to have enough information to be able to jump in here and kind of update everything that you see on this front page. Obviously, we're going to add all of those additional pages of content, but just to get your hands dirty, get your hands in here and get this front page looking just the way you want it to. That would be my goal for you guys to be able to do after our training today.
Got it. Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and jump into the back end of the site. Right now, we're looking at the dashboard, this home page that we see when you guys log in. And we're really going to be focusing under the website tab today. The first thing that I want to talk a little bit about is our media manager. So this is an in-house file store that we've created. You'll never be able to copy and paste an image into an editor. You'll never be able to like copy and paste a link to a document. You'll always need to either save that image or document in your media manager. And so that would be right in here in this area. We've got a couple of folders created for you guys, but you can add your own folders. So like under images, if you wanted sponsors, you could create that folder. And so now you've got subfolders. So you can kind of organize this however works best for you all. To add images in, all you would need to do, or documents, you can do it in either folder. So I'm going to go ahead and add a document. You can just come to the bottom of the editor. There's an upload button. By selecting upload, we can find the file that we want to upload. I'm going to go ahead and put your Go Live checklist in here. And we would just open. And that's going to add it right into our folder. So now you can access this file from within anywhere in the site. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
I think so, yeah.
Can we upload all types of, quote, documents? I mean, Word documents, PDF documents, Excel documents?
Absolutely. You guys are not limited. You can upload any type of, I don't think I've found any documents that you can't upload. So absolutely, that won't be a problem.
What about the kinds of images? Do we have to have only JPEGs, or do we have to have PNGs, or can we do any of the options?
You can do any of them. I've seen PNGs, JPEGs, what am I thinking of? The high resolution files, I think they're called AI files maybe.
Yeah.
I've seen any of those.
Yes.
Yep, no, there's no limitations, and obviously it gives you a file size limit at the bottom, but this has never been a problem for any of my clients because that's pretty big, and that's per file, so it's pretty large. Okay, any other questions on this?
I have two. Can you upload multiple documents at once?
You sure can. You would just select multiple when you're getting ready to upload them.
Okay, and does it have a drag and drop feature or not yet?
You know what? Let's find out. Nope, not yet. No drag and drop.
All right, that's all the questions I had for now.
Okay.
Anything that you want to use on your site goes into one of those folders then.
Exactly. That's exactly right.
Okay.
Okay. Now the next item that I want to look at are our widgets. So widgets are what allows our website to be responsive. So if somebody goes to your website on a cell phone, all of the things in here are going to stack on top of each other. You're not losing capabilities or the ability to use any of these components. They're just stacked. So the fact that these are widgets allows us to do that. So we're going to go ahead and jump into the website tab and widgets. And we've got a list of different widgets in here. I want to go ahead and point out to you guys where these are located. So your members will have a member landing page. That member landing page is going to be, when they log in, it's what they'll see. Part of that member landing page will have this area that will data merge in their information into their profile, so they're kind of greeted with a personal page. I think this is really cool. This is supposed to be back here the lapel of a blazer, but we can change this to whatever you want it to be. So if you guys have your own image, we can update it to that. We have some other options like a doctor coat. We've got like a t-shirt pocket. So there's some different options that you guys can choose from for instead of this lapel, or if you like the lapel of the blazer, we can leave it. If you want to change the data merged information on this name tag, you would just highlight the area that you want to change, come to the bottom of the editor, and you'll see this data merge or merge data button. When we click on that, it's going to bring up all the different fields from your members' profiles. All at the top here in brackets are built-in attributes. In the middle, not in brackets, are custom attributes. And then towards the bottom, you're going to go back in brackets again. These are those system attributes. So usually we would put in here contact name. I'm going to merge it, and then that's going to tell this name tag, okay, we want the contact name to be data merged in. This next one is typically organization. Of course, you guys can make these however you want them to be. And then member type is usually at the bottom. Does that process make sense?
Mhm. And where did you again to get that drop down of all those options?
This merge data button right down here at the bottom.
Okay, thank you.
Of course. So I'm going to go ahead and save. You guys will see that more on the social community training.
Yeah, we've had that one.
Oh yeah, you had that earlier this week or maybe end of last week, right?
Yeah, last week.
How did that go? Did you feel like you learned a lot?
I don't think it was that great, to be honest with you.
Well,
Really?
we felt like we'll understand, have knowledgeable questions when we're doing it better than just listening, you know.
I understand. We can go back through that training if it would be helpful for you guys. I have a video as well that I'll make sure you have that you can listen to, but maybe what I would recommend is watching that video. We can go ahead and schedule more time, but that way instead of going through everything, it can really be more about just answering the questions that you have remaining from that. Would that be helpful?
Sure.
Yeah.
Awesome. Yeah, we can definitely. We just recently started doing our social community trainings that way. And I agree with you. I think it's awesome for people who are not that interested in social community, but for people who really want to understand it, it's like, I want to ask questions because I know multiple people I think can join those now, right? Or probably was what it was.
Yeah, there was other people on there.
Yeah, we can go back through that together. No worries. And that's great feedback. Thanks for letting me know. So then the next areas that I want to look at, homepage main, homepage left, and homepage right. So I mentioned earlier on this homepage here, we've got homepage main. So I'm going to see if you guys can get this updated. Homepage left and homepage right. So to update any of these pieces of info, you're just going to click on the one that you're wanting to update. And you're just going to start typing in our editor. We're going to talk more about the functions of our editor in just a little bit. But if I am not a design girl by any means, but I find our editor extremely easy to use. To me, it's like working in a Word document. There are a couple of specific, some unique things to member clicks, and we are going to go through those in just a little bit, but it's really easy to work in, y'all. Any questions on those three areas, homepage, main, left, and right?
That makes sense.
Awesome. Then we've got member landing quick links. Don't worry about this. I'm sorry. My new design, we had a new designer. You shouldn't be able to see this. You've got this quick links menu here. You're actually going to be updating this through a menu item, and I'm going to show you how to do that in a little bit. You're not going to use this quick links to do that. I'll have my designer remove it so it doesn't confuse you guys. Same with slider images. I'm sorry. Hero content is going to be the next important one, and I'll have those removed, y'all. Hero content's a biggie. So this is the content that runs across your hero image, which is here. So you can change any of the text that's across this hero image, and it'll reflect right in that area. I'm going to teach you guys also how to create these buttons when we get into an editor. We're going to do a little lesson just all about the editor in a minute as well. But that's just the area that that you guys will update that text. Any questions on that?
If we don't want any text, can we just delete it?
You can either delete it, or the easier part, y'all, is just to unpublish it. So that's a great question. Now, if I go back to your homepage, oh, you know what? I lied. That gets rid of the whole image. Yes, just delete it. Exactly. Don't listen to me.
Okay.
Footer info, that's just falling right down at the bottom of your page. So that's how you update this information here. Which you guys will need.
Can we do that now or not?
Yeah, we can do it now.
No, I don't mean like now, but like
we can,
in the next couple days we could do it?
Yeah, this is,
play with it. And,
Okay.
this is all live. You can access any of this information. And so my recommendation, if you have time after our trainings today, is to get in and just start playing around. It's just easier because you'll remember more right after we get off the call. If you give it a couple days, sometimes you might get in here and be like, what did she click? It looked easy, but now I don't know what to do. So doing it right after would be my recommendation if you have time. If not, that's fine too.
Okay, thank you.
Okay, then we've got custom login page content lower half and top half. So this, I'm going to show you really quickly. And right now what I'm doing is I'm in a incognito window because I don't want the system to recognize me as an admin. So if I select member login, it's going to bring us to this login page. You guys have the ability to add text above or below this login section. I would say 98% of my associations don't mess with this. The other 2% will put something like, not a member, join now by selecting your membership application, and then they'll provide the link to their membership application. That's not a bad idea. You don't have to put anything above or below, but like I said, if you want to, you would do so by going into custom login page lower half. That would be below the login page, below the login section, or top half. So we don't have anything in this area now. You can add something if you want to, just to show you how to reflect. So I just added in the top half, and that's where it added it. Does that make sense?
Yeah.
Awesome. Okay. And that is all of our widgets that I wanted to go through with you guys. Any questions on any of those widgets or anything that we just talked about?
Back on the login page, is there something if they forgot their password or their login information? Oh, there it is. Okay.
Yep. And if they log in with the wrong info, a little red box will come up and it'll say, you put in the wrong password. And so it'll let them know. Kind of like,
I'm sorry.
nope, you're fine. I was done. Go ahead.
Do we have the capability of replacing the image that's in it right now? One looks like a bridge.
You do. So I will show that to you. Oh, you know what? Great question.
I sent them that.
Yeah, we sent an image in an email a while back with the image that we want there. I don't know if you have it or.
Picture?
Let me see why that wasn't added.
I haven't told you, but
And we can add it together right now so I can show you how to do it.
That'd be great.
Who gives it to us?
visitors bureau.
Oh, really? Okay.
They send that over to you.
That's good to know.
Content specifications, design document. Is this one? Ah. Is this one it?
Yeah, that's it.
So let me show you what this will do.
Okay.
It's not long enough.
And y'all, I don't know if you have your own photo editor. I'm a big fan of Pixlr. It's free. So I know, just because I know this image needs to be 2000 by 400.
And it's not, the original is not. It's gonna destroy it.
It needs to be, what does it need to be?
It needs to be 2000 by 400.
By 400.
So I'm a little bit afraid that it's like just going to cut these men's heads off.
Uh-huh.
And if you're fine with that, we can do that. Otherwise, you guys might want to
Or to crop the bottom where the fellow with his
Yeah,
back.
that was the instructions, was to cut from the bottom.
oh, I did something wrong. Was it? We can do that. I know how to do this. I'm just being a little bit slow.
We deal with these same kind of issues when we do that.
Okay. I want to show you how to do this really fast. Almost.
I don't know. I just use maybe Windows Picture Editor.
I use PaintShop Pro, but that's only
Hmm.
I don't really do much editing. So.
I don't want to do too much. So is this still looking good coming off the bottom like this?
Yeah.
And then I can show you guys how we can do this. Any second now. I'm trying really hard not to. Is this still looking okay?
I don't know.
Now it's getting a little
Weird.
weird. Maybe a little bit off the top. Ha! Perfect.
We'll have to get a different picture.
Yeah, that's why I thought maybe a board of officers in there.
Just to show you so you guys can see.
All right, you go ahead and put it in, then we'll take a look.
Yeah.
That's ours.
So anytime you put an image in this area, it always has to be, anytime you want to upload a hero image, it has to be a JPEG, and it has to be called hero.jpg. So I just saved this as hero.
Hold on 1 second here. So hero images have to be titled hero.
Only the hero image. Only the one that you want to be the hero image.
Okay.
What we're going to do is go back in the Media Manager, and in the Site folder, we've got something in here called hero.jpg. That's where it's pulling from. So I can delete this, and I'm going to delete this. Now, this can be a little tricky and it'll probably take almost our full training for this to populate. I always like to clear my cache at this point, which is going to kick me out of the system, but that's okay. Then go back into y'all's site, back into the Media Manager, back into the site folder. I'm going to upload, and I'm going to upload that hero.jpg. Now, it probably is not going to be there. I'm probably going to have to clear my cache one more time. Oh, it is! Cool. So if you clear your cache, it'll usually help it out. But anyways, this is about what it'll look like. That's not awful, you know?
Too bad. No, that's not too bad.
It looks better than I expected.
Yeah.
It looks pretty good. And then obviously if we want to get rid of that text, let's just go to our widget, go to that hero content. That was fun. Usually it gives me a little bit of a hard time. Just sometimes can take 10 minutes to populate and then people are like, are you lying to me? I'm like, I promise it'll populate. There we go. That looks pretty good, y'all. What do you think?
Yeah, I
Yeah,
think
it
it
does.
looks good.
Cool.
That's our governor on the left.
Oh, okay. So it's important to have him in there probably.
And
Yeah.
our sitting president right in the middle.
Yeah.
Oh, wow. That's perfect. Yeah, that's a pretty good.
I like that,
Cool.
actually.
If you had text and you wanted it to be a link to our legislative, public, this is what we want you to know, that would be appropriate. But for the beginnings of everything,
Yeah.
this is not bad at all.
And Carpenter will be happy.
And you guys got to see me go through that whole process. So as long as you photo edit, which we had to do, so it took a little bit of time because I was having to do it in a silly way. But once you get that photo the size that you want it to be, then as long as it's called Hero and it's a JPEG file, then you'll just be able to upload it in that site folder and it'll populate in for you. Okay. All right. Now, before we did that, we were looking at the widgets. Any other questions that you guys have at this point?
I think so.
Okay. So the next thing, so we've talked about the Media Manager. We've looked through the widgets. The next thing I want to do is talk about how we create articles, which is what we call pages of content, and then how to link those pages of content to a menu item. Now, we're going to do this for you, but if you ever want to make edits, changes, whatever the case may be, I want you to feel comfortable doing that because this is your website and it's really easy. So the first thing we need to do before we can connect or attach or make a menu item, the first thing we need to do is create that page of content, that article. Because if we don't have the thing that we're linking to in the menu, then we can't link it, right?
Right.
So the first thing we're going to do is create our article. So I'm just going to go to website and articles. This is going to bring us into the article manager. You'll see all of your articles in here once we've got those created. You can click on any of these. So this member landing page is the member landing page that your members will land on once they've logged in. You guys can update this with any information that you would like. Just make sure you leave this area, this area in brackets because it brings in that cool name tag that I showed you guys just a minute ago with their personalized data merge info. But basically you can click on any of these articles and just start typing and update the text. So you'll be able to do that on any of the pages we bring over for you guys.
Okay.
To create a new article, we're actually going to be working up here in the icons that you see in the top right-hand corner. Now, the ones that you guys will be using most often, the new, of course, is how you create a new article. We're going to do that in just a moment.
Let me stop you just for a second. An article is a page.
It's a page of content.
So it will have its own link then. Every article will have its own link and it'll take you to a new page of content.
That's exactly right. I think, yep.
Okay.
So we're going to go to, so if you wanted to delete an item, you would tag it and move to the trash. If you ever accidentally move something to the trash, you can always view your trash and restore it. You can copy pages. Sometimes that's helpful. You can publish or unpublish. You can also do publish or unpublish just by double clicking on the green published, double clicking on the red unpublished.
Boom, take it down.
I may be jumping ahead, but can you also delay the publishing? Can you set the date where it's first published rather than immediate?
I'll have to look at the parameters and see if that's something that we can set. So when we get in the article in a second, I'll let you know if that's available to you guys.
Okay.
So I'm going to go ahead and create a new article by selecting this new plus sign. So now we're in our article builder. This is where we can actually create our article. Now I'm going to go ahead and look. Start publishing. Yeah, so you do have a start publishing date. Do you see right here where I'm talking about?
Mm-hmm. Yes.
So you can set that and it'll publish it for whatever date you put in there. I didn't know if that was something that only we could see or if you guys could see it as well. So cool.
There are some things that we would like to have that turn on and turn off automatically. So.
Perfect. We're going to create the title of our article. I'm going to call this members only just for our example. And this is going to auto-populate the alias. The alias is what creates the URL. So the alias will come after ilacp.memberclicks.net/members-only, and that would be the direct link to this page. Now to start building the text or the verbiage in our editor, I just copied and pasted our title. And there's a couple things that we can do in here that are unique to MemberClicks. A lot of what you see are the same that you would see, like I mentioned, in a Word document. If you have any experience in Joomla, we base our editor off of Joomla. So this will feel pretty easy if you do. Bolding, italicizing, underlining, strike throughs, different alignments. I'm sure you guys have seen those in the past.
Right.
Perfect. Same thing with font family, font sizes, highlighting your text, changing the color of your text. My recommendation is to not use any of these customized pieces. The reason why is because we actually have some formatted fonts in here. Under this format, there's a drop down. We can update these colors if you don't like them, but we've tried to match them to your site best as possible. So there's two reasons I would recommend using these formatted fonts instead of the font family, sizes, colors. Two reasons. The first, consistency. So this is going to, help you create consistency throughout your site. The second, if you guys go through a rebranding, or if one day you're just like, I'm bored with our site, let's freshen it up. We need some new colors in here. You guys can call us with the colors that you want us to update. Our designers are going to update those colors for you, and within that, they're also going to update these formatted fonts, and wherever you've used these in your site, they're going to automatically update as well. So you're not going to have to go through every single article that you have on your site and change the colors and the font and the text. It's going to happen for you, which to me is a huge bonus, right?
Yes, definitely.
Yeah.
So I would definitely recommend using these formatted fonts. The next item that's a little bit unique to MemberClicks is how you're going to insert images. So I mentioned earlier, we can't copy and paste images into our editor. Instead, we need to come to the bottom of our editor, and we're going to select this image button.
What does it say? I can't see.
Image.
Image. Oh.
Sorry, yep, it's kind of small. Now this brings us into a mini media manager. Try to say that 10 times fast. And in here, we'll be able to see all those files that we've created, including any of those sub files that you create as well. I'm going to go ahead and just pull in your logo. I've selected the image, and I'm just going to select insert this image. Now we may not love the size of the image, the relationship between the image and the text. We may not love where the image is located on this page of or this article. So to change those items, we're going to highlight our image just by selecting it. We just clicked on it. And if you notice my favorite icon all the way up here, it's this teeny tiny little tree. I just think it's so cute. You can click on that little tree icon, go to the Appearance tab, and this allows you to determine some of those factors that I just talked about with your image. If you forget what I talk about in this moment, it's okay, because this little window over here is showing you exactly what you're doing when you're playing around with these features. So the first thing is alignment. That's how the text aligns with the image. My favorite to use is left. That pushes the image left and wraps the text from top to bottom. Dimensions is going to allow us to determine the dimensions of our image. As long as you constrain proportions, it's going to fill in that second dimension for you, just keeping the proportions of your image. Vertical and horizontal space, it's going to create a space cushion around our text and image so that the text isn't right backed up to the image. So this is measured in pixels. Now we've got some space here. Border, it'll always just be a very classic black border. We can't change the color of that border, but if you ever wanted a border for some reason, this is how you would create that. So I'm just going to update. I'm going to say OK. And now you'll notice we've pushed our image left. The image is smaller. We've created that border. We've got a space cushion between our text and our image, and our text starts at the top of our image. Did that all make sense, how we just did that?
Mm-hmm.
Cool. Couple other things that I want to point out. External and internal links. These are a little bit different as well. The first thing we want to do is find the text that we're wanting to link up. We're going to highlight it. For external links, we're coming to the top of our editor and selecting this little link. And then from here, I'm just going to grab the URL that we want to link up. I'm just going to link back to your home page. We're going to apply that link in the link URL box. Target, this is where the link will open up. Do you want it to open up in the same window or a different window? I would say best practice, you want this to open up in a new window so that people can continue to navigate your website while having this external link pop up in a new window. Does that make sense?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We agree.
Yeah, and I'm just going to insert. Internal links, a little bit different. You're still highlighting the text you want to link up, but this time we're coming to the bottom of our editor and choosing site links. So this is going to be anything inside of MemberClicks that we're linking to. So I always say, you know, we gave it its special little place. We actually wrote it out because we want that to have a lot of attention to it because it's all about MemberClicks. I'm going to select site links. Here comes a mini media manager again, but this time we can link to any existing articles, any existing community features, any menu items, any forms, any files. There's that Go Live checklist I imported earlier. We're going to go ahead and link to our event calendar, and I'm going to select insert this link. Now, if you want to look super fancy, if you highlight anything that's linked up, it could be internal or external. You're going to come to the top of your editor, use those formatted fonts again, and choose heading 6. And that creates this really cool button. How easy was that?
I was looking forward to finding out how you did that part of it.
What was that again? Heading 6? Creates a button.
Heading 6, that's exactly right. Okay. All right, any questions on how we did any of that? A couple other things I'll go ahead and point out to you guys that are kind of important. We've got a back button. This is my favorite, as silly as it may seem. Undo, redo. Spell check's important. All of these items that you see in here that are kind of grayed out, these have to do with tables. Y'all, I would really recommend not creating tables because they are not responsive. And so everything about your site looks awesome, clean, it's responsive on a cell phone until somebody gets to an article with a table. Now all of a sudden they're having to scroll to see the entire table. It just makes for a poor user experience. So I would steer clear of our tables whenever possible. The only other thing that I point out is this HTML. So if you guys are fluent in HTML, you can use our HTML editor here.
I'm sorry, show that again. How did you click from the, what you see to the HTML? Right there, okay.
Yep. All right. Now, when we're ready to save our article, the first thing we need to do is determine who can see this article. So we're going to determine the group access. If everybody can see it, we'll tag everybody. But maybe only members can see it, because this is members only, right? In that case, we're going to untag prospect and public. So we're determining who gets to see this. And now we're going to save. So at this point, we've created our article. We've set the permissions on who can see it. We've created all of the internal, the external links. We brought in our image, talked about the formatted fonts. So now we're ready to link this to our menu item. Any questions before I keep going forward?
Yes. Can you preview the page to see what the page is going to look like?
So what I would do, if you want to do that, is just give yourself permission, only admin, if you want to preview it. But we call this, go ahead.
And then you do.
Say that one more time, I'm sorry.
And you click admin, but then what?
You would just save, and so that means that only admin have the permission to see this article. And then if you like it, you would come back in here and tag everybody.
Okay. Is the default everybody for?
The default is actually nobody, but if I tried to save this without anybody being selected, see, it's going to say you have to set permissions basically before you can move away from the screen.
We probably always want to preview.
Any other questions, guys, before we keep moving forward?
I don't think so.
All right. Let's link this to our menu. I'm going to go back to our website tab. This time we're going to go to menu items. Now this has a lot of steps, y'all, so hang with me, but I've got this on a recording, so I'll send this to you so you can rewatch it. We've created our article. We're ready to link it up somewhere. We've got 4 different menu items we can link it to, right? We've got our main menu, social network menu, member menu, quick links menu. That main menu is this kind of turquoise bar that you have here across the top, or baby blue bar. Quick links menu. Social network menu are these icons at the bottom. And then if you guys remember when you went through the social community training where you saw that name tag, right underneath it there was the member menu where he would have clicked to select my profile and look at all that information. Do you guys remember that? Mm-hmm. So that would be the member menu. Right now for our example, so when we get to this area, we've gone to website, we've selected menu items. We're going to say, what menu are we wanting to make an update to? What menu are we making a change to? For our example's sake, we're going to make a change to the main menu. Now, this is going to give us an outline of our menu structure, just as you see here. We want to create a new menu item. So to do that, same icons that we saw when we were creating the article, right? We're going to select new, just like we did when we created the article. Now, at this stage, it's asking us, well, what are you going to link to? Most commonly, you're going to be linking to single articles. That's what we just created. You're never going to use any of these other items in here, just single article. We've got community items. Another common thing that you'll be linking to will be external links, maybe. Any forms, you might be linking directly to forms. You might want to link directly to the event calendar. You might want to link directly to somebody's profile. A lot of times my associations will create an extra link to their members' profiles and the quick links so that they can get back to their profile if they navigate away from it after they've logged in. For this example, we're going to select single article because that's what we just created together. Now we're going to name this single article. I'm going to name it, I like to name mine the same thing that I name my article. So I'm going to call it members only. To me, that makes sense when I'm linking them up. there's that alias again. We're going to determine where we want this to populate. If we want this to be a main menu item, we're going to highlight top. If we want it to be a sub-menu item, we're going to highlight home. Or another main menu item. It'll look like the home. It'll just continue down. If we want to link to a sub-menu item and create a tertiary menu item, we would highlight one of the sub-menu items, and that would create a tertiary. We cannot create links past the tertiary point. Same thing, we're going to decide what browser this is opening in, either same or new window. Set that group access, who gets to see this. And then we also want to now select the article. So when we press on the button in the main menu that's taking us to an article that's called members only, what's going to pop up? What? Well, that's not supposed to happen. Let's try this again. What? Oh, no. Hold for technical difficulties. I'm sorry. We were almost there. Huh. I wonder if our server's down. Hang with me for 1 second, guys. I'm trying to see if this is looks like a, Let me follow up with my team and see if they're having the same problem. While I'm waiting to hear back from them, how are you guys feeling about this training so far? Is everything feeling okay?
It's feeling pretty good. This last one, this last section about creating the link, I guess you just have to play with it to see exactly what's going to happen.
Exactly.
Seems like multiple steps.
It's a lot of steps, but if you think about it, critically and ask yourself as you go through each, and I always tell my associations, always start from the top left-hand corner, work your way down through every single little item. If there's a second column on the right-hand side, do the same thing. Start at the top and work your way through each one. To me, sometimes when you get to that page, you're like, whoa, it's just like, whoa, that's a lot of information. Like, what do I even do? But if you kind of break it down into smaller bite-sized pieces, it starts to make sense, I think. To me, it does. It looks like our system might have gone down. And this is so, I'm not just saying it's so very rare to you guys. It really is very rare. So I don't have a timeline as to when this is going to be back online. In the past, it's been like 5 minutes. So I am thinking that might be all that it's going to take. So we can continue to kind of hang out. I know that we have a second training on forms today. Are you guys feeling like your brain is going to be able to kind of sink in another training, or is this feeling like a lot? How are y'all feeling?
It's feeling good. Can I use this time to ask you a quick question that I wanted to ask?
Of course.
I know you said you saw my email when you first got on the call. We've decided to make our QuickBooks records match our MemberClick records so that when we export, we're not going to have a problem instead of trying to export them to company names.
Okay.
That conversation we had about that and our difficulties.
Yes.
Okay. So my question is, when I export, is it only going to look at first and last name? Do I need to make our QuickBooks, our names in QuickBooks match the first and last names in MemberClicks?
So that's correct, but I wonder if you don't like this idea, then you just tell me. But
Okay.
do you think it might be more efficient, like time savvy, and also just for accuracy to just when you do the import, allow member clicks to create those profiles in your system? Or does that scare you?
Um, I want to say that's fine. We do have a lot of them already created, which is fine. I can merge them and move data over to the new one that member clicks creates if you think that would be easier.
I just feel like for like to prevent human error or if there's as simple as like somebody has a middle initial with a period and then you enter it in without the period or you enter in the full middle name or something like that, I know that that would then create a duplicate account. So I wonder if you just allow member clicks to create those accounts, since that's what you're going to have it do anyways, it just might be a little bit more accurate and
Okay.
time. I'll check with my financial guy and see what he thinks about that, but it makes sense to me.
Okay.
Did you
I
get
agree. And then as far as the income accounts, do you want, I know I sent you a new Excel sheet with the names that match our QuickBooks exactly. I've gone in and changed a couple of them myself. Should I just go ahead and change those myself?
if
Think it'd
you
be easy.
want Yeah, if you want to, you sure can. It might take me a couple days to get that completed. So if you
Okay,
want
I'll go ahead and update the income accounts myself since it
okay.
was my error. I'll go ahead and make that change. So I'll just copy directly from QuickBooks into MemberClick.
Yeah, that's exactly right. Awesome. And if you end up wanting me to do it, just shoot me an email and say, "Hey, just kidding. I'm not going to do this." And I'll
I'll
go ahead and do it for you. It'll just take me a couple more days to get to it, probably early next week or something. But
no, I'll go ahead and do that, and then I am going to be sending Elliot a new database to upload because we did make some changes. But he's aware of that. And then I think the only other question I had, can't think of it now. I might have to come back to you.
Well, was it some of these questions, Carmen, like, can our members change their username?
Oh, yes. Do we know when our members log on to this for the first time, do we know what their password is going to be?
so they're actually going to be creating their password themselves, so we don't know what it will be. Um, Unless you want me to create it for them, in which case we wouldn't have a way to like provide the password to them to like data merge it in because it's protected. But what we could do, I've had some associations that maybe have less tech savvy people. We'll just create it all like everybody's password, ILACP, all caps, or 2017 or something like that. And then your members can go in and update that password themselves.
Okay, no,
Um,
I want to do that. I think we rather the first option where you said that so we just want to let our members know that they'll need to log in, and when they try to log in the first time, is it going to ask them to create a password, or do they have to, what do they do when they log in the first time?
Yeah, let me show. Oh, actually, in that Go Live checklist, there is some example text. Let me show you. So all the way down at the bottom here, this is along the lines. This is what we're going to send to your members. You can obviously change this, update it, but basically it's going to say click here and it'll have a link to update your password. Once updated, you can log in here and it's going to take them to the login page using your username and new password.
So you're going to send that, you're going to email that to all of our members? Is that what you're going to do?
I'm actually going to create this template for you, and you guys will either send it out, or what a lot of times I do is we send it out together. So I'll have you guys go through the process so you feel comfortable, but I can be on the phone with you while you do it.
Yeah, we want to go ahead and send that out. We're already prepared to send something out anyway, so that would be great.
Well, we really want to wait to send this out until you're like 100% ready to launch.
Right.
So we're going to want to wait until like the go live checklist has been completed and the website looks the way you want it to look and all that good stuff.
Sure.
So, but yeah, once that's done, then this is what we'll be sending out to your members.
Okay. And then, but we'll have control over that. We'll be able to send it because we're going to mail it. Is that what we're going to do?
Well, we're gonna mail and we're gonna email.
Okay.
We're gonna mail them with not complete instructions, just some of the instructions.
Okay.
What about changing the username? That was another.
Yeah, that was my other question. Everybody's username at present is their email address.
We do have a handful that don't have email addresses that I have created. I have made their username their first initial and last name for the ones that don't have an email address.
That's fine. They can actually update their username as well if you allow them to in the profile owner attribute security. So if you want them to have the ability to update that, they can. If you don't want them to be able to update it, then you can just give them the blue eyeball so that they can't
But we'll give them edit ability.
Now, if they change their username, will we on the admin side be able to know what they changed it to?
It's always going to be in their profile in the top left-hand corner. It says username, and you'll always be able to see it right there.
If somebody changes their email address, does it automatically change that? Do they have to change their email address and then change their username as well?
They would need to do that, yes.
You change it in both?
Correct. It's not going to automatically update it. I like to do emails just because a lot of times there's usually, like, if I do first letter, first name, and last name, there's usually like 2 J Smiths or like 2 L Johnsons. Like it
Well,
just,
we did emails for 95%. We have a small percentage of what we call life members that we don't have emails on file, but we still want them to have usernames because we still want them to be on our custom profiles and be able to log in. They just don't have an email address on file.
yeah. So if somebody was missing an email address, I would have made it the first letter, first name, and last name. Or if there were duplicates, I would have made it like ILACP 1, ILACP 2, or something along those lines.
Okay.
Let's see. Yay, we're back in.
All right, we killed enough time.
We sure did. Thanks for the help. Did y'all have something else?
I had a question about when we send out the first dues notices, but we can address that later.
No, we can go ahead and talk about it. So when we send out the first dues notices, what's going to happen is the first notification is going to come out from the system. And whenever we have that cadence kind of listed, so if it's to go out 2 months before their expiration date, then the system's going to read that. Once we turn on those notifications, they are not turned on yet because we're not ready. When I turn them on, the system's going to
check that out.
Yeah.
The system's going to read that first notification, and it's going to send that out with the invoice. So like simultaneously, the invoices will be created in the system, and it'll attach the invoice to the notification. So it's going to end up looking something like, I think I might have showed this to you, but it'll be like member renewal notice. This will be all of the text that you guys wanted to put in here. And then at the bottom, there's going to be a PDF version of the invoice, and then a click here to view the invoice. When they select this link, they'll be able to pay the invoice directly from this open invoice. Right now, this is voided, so I don't have a pay option. And then they can also download it if they wanted to print it off, send it in with a check to you guys.
Now, we actually have 2 groups that we will not want them to get the email because they have no
dues.
No dues. It's 0. So does that mean we simply do not turn on the life member group and the VIP group?
Correct. Won't turn those on. That's exactly right.
And then can we do a mass, like say we want to change all their expiration dates to 2018? Because usually what we do is like mid-December of the year, we'll go in and change all of our life and our VIP members to the next year so that they don't get the notices. Obviously, we can turn it off so they won't get the notices, but can we do like a mass change of their expiration date all at once, or do we have to go into each one individually?
Yeah, you can do a mass import, and I can definitely show you guys how to do that, but it's not necessary to do it unless you just want to.
Well, we want to keep it current for everybody. So, because it's like a complimentary membership, we want them to go in their own profile, and it will show that they are in good standing through December 31 of 2018, even though there's no financial obligation to them. So, like Carmen said, we wanted to know how to do that en masse for all of the life members.
Because we could do that now. I mean, once Elliot re-uploads our database, we could do that now. But I mean, I could do it on the spreadsheet before I send it to Elliot, but we just wondered for like next year, what would we do?
Yeah, I can show you guys definitely how to do that. That'll be a special training. I don't normally show people how to do imports, but if that's all you're going to be updating, I can definitely walk you guys through that process. So don't include it in the database you send to Elliot. Just remind
Okay.
me and we'll do it together. Next
Okay.
year, honestly, y'all, you'll probably have to call me and say, I know you showed me this, but I don't remember.
Okay.
And I would rather you do that than just try to guess, because when you start importing, it can become very serious because you're messing with your data. Anytime you're messing with your data, it can get a little serious. So so we may need to talk about it again, but we'll do it this year together to make sure
Okay.
to just walk through it together. Okay, cool. Any other questions before I'm going to go back through that process really quickly just to finish up adding a menu item.
I think that's all the questions commonly brainstormed about. So.
I think so. I think the rest is, yeah.
So I was calling this members only. We decided where we wanted it to populate. We set what window it needs to open up in. We're setting our group access. We're choosing the article. So we just walked through each one. We're saving. Website, view my site. Now we have that new menu item we just created together. If we select the menu item, there's that menu item that we created together. So I know you guys, I'm sure, had some questions on that process, but I'll send you the video so you can walk back through it a couple times if you need to, okay?
Okay.
Once you do it 3 or 4 times, you'll have the hang of it. All right. So we're going to rock into our forms portion of the training. I'm going to go ahead and bring up one of the forms that you guys have sent me for us to create together. Let's create your membership application together. That wasn't it. Awesome. Let's jump in. So starting back at the home page, the only place we can access your forms is forms and then form list. So that makes it pretty easy. And I need to create all these forms for you. I'll create them and I'll send them to you for you to test them with testing directions. But right now we're going to create your membership application. And so to do that, the first thing, so this is going to be our form list area. The first thing we want to do is create a form. Now, whatever name you put in this area is internal. This is not something that your members will see. So you can name this whatever is going to help you recognize it. Recognize what this form is used for. Now the next option, the next item that we need to do is we're determining what's going to create the body of our form. Our forms are by default consisted of multiple different sections. So by default there's going to be a login section, a summary section, a payment section, and a confirmation section. The body of our form is going to be what determines the use of the form. The 3 different types of bodies that we can choose from would be a membership application, an event registration, or lastly, a general section. By checking these boxes that you see on this page, we are telling the system, okay, we're creating a membership application, so go ahead and bring in the membership application body section for us to build out the questions we want to ask the members. Maybe instead this is for event registration. So this time we're going to tell the form, we're using this for event registration, and now the form's going to automatically bring in the event section into the form for us. We could use this form for both. It'll bring in both sections. Lastly, we could use this form for neither, and that would be just us bringing in a general section. So if you're making any type of form other than a membership or event registration form, check neither, and you're going to use a general section. Everything making sense so far?
Mm-hmm.
I'm going to go ahead and check that this is used for membership because we're creating our membership application together. At this point, I'm going to select Save. Saving is going to bring us into the form builder. I'm going to back out for just a second because I want to show you what else we can see from this form list. If I'm looking at some of these options, if I've highlighted this form and come over all the way to the right-hand side, There's a couple things that I can look at. I can click on that little three-tiered little three-dot menu right there, and it's going to give me options to delete or copy. You can delete a form until a submission has been made of the form. So we're going to be using forms to collect information on your members and to fill out their profiles. If you deleted the form after form submissions have been entered, it's going to delete all of the information that you collected from the form, and that is no good. So that's why we just take the opportunity, we take that delete button away, or it's not gone, it's just grayed out, so you can't select it, to just prevent you guys from making the mistake of deleting a mass amount of information. Does that make sense? Do you want me to explain that one more time? Uh-oh, I can't hear you. What happened? You guys still there? Hey, Carmen, are you able to hear me?